You send a 3-paragraph text to cancel coffee. Your friend replied with no worries, and you still felt sick. You read it back twice. It sounded desperate. You weren't lying. You were overproving. That ache has a source, and it isn't your friends. It started in a house where love wore a smile, where the parent everyone adored was the one you couldn't read. Charm looks like warmth. From the inside, it feels like weather. Sunny when watched, cold when the door closed. You learned to explain yourself before you were ever accused. Most people picture a difficult parent as loud, cruel, obviously wrong, easy to name later. The charming parent is harder. They are funny, generous in public, the favorite at every gathering. Friends called your house lucky. Teachers loved drop-off. Relatives said you were so spoiled. And inside that house, you were quietly studying a face that changed without warning. You learned that approval was a current, not a constant. It came in, it went out. You couldn't predict the tide, so you became the kind of child who explained everything. Where you been, why you were late, why your grades looked like that, why you were sad. Not because you were in trouble, because you sensed the mood could turn, and language was your umbrella. Charm's control is a quieter kind of power. The parent doesn't have to yell. They just have to withhold the warm version of themselves, and you'll work to earn it back. So you overtalked. You softened every request into a small apology with a story attached. That habit didn't stay in childhood. You took it to friendships, to group chats, to coffee dates. Now you cancel plans, and instead of "I can't make it," you send a paragraph. You explain the work thing, the headache, the timing, the traffic, the fact that you tried. You add a small joke at the end so they know you're not upset, and you're not asking them to be upset either. You hit send, and your chest stays tight until they answer with something casual. That tightness isn't anxiety about the friend. It's an old child waiting to see if the weather changed. Stay with me, because the next part is the piece almost no one connects. The charming parent didn't only train you to over-explain, they trained you to distrust ease. When someone is kind to you without you working for it, a small alarm goes off inside. You think, this is the calm before, so you start filling the calm with proof of your goodness. You become the friend who overshares context, overcredits others, over-apologizes for taking up space. You aren't needy. You are preempting a withdrawal that already happened years ago in a different room. Here is the decode that changes things. Over-explaining is not a personality trait. It is a survival skill that outlived the threat. It made sense then. It is exhausting now. A child in an unpredictable home explains to stay safe. An adult among kind friends does not need to. But your nervous system didn't get the memo, because no one ever told it the war was over. Notice what you over-explain. It's almost never the big things. It's the small, harmless ones. Why you didn't text back for 2 hours. Why you ordered the cheaper meal. Why you left the party early. The size of your explanation is not about the thing. It's about the size of the old fear underneath it. You are not justifying a choice. You are reassuring a child that the warm parent is still in the room. There's something else the charming parent taught you, and it shows up in your friendships like a fingerprint. You learned that connection has a performance fee, that to be loved, you had to be entertaining, useful, or easy. So now, when a friend doesn't respond quickly, you scroll back through the conversation looking for what you broke. You don't consider that they're tired or busy or simply living. You assume your last message had a flaw. I want to pause here because there's a question I want to ask you, and I want you to answer it honestly in the comments. When was the last time you sent a short, clean no to a friend with no story attached and didn't feel sick after? Not a polished no. Not a "so sorry, I wish I could next time for sure" no. A real one. If you can't remember, you're not broken. You're carrying a habit from a home that needed it from you. Drop one word in the comments, but just one. The word your child's self most wanted to hear from that charming parent and never quite did. Someone scrolling past your comment will read it and finally understand why their chest gets tight when a friend says, "We need to talk." Now, back to the work, because the next part is where the change actually lives. The first shift is small and almost boring. You start noticing the over-explanation as it leaves your mouth. You don't have to stop it yet. You just have to see it. Awareness is the crack the light gets in through. You'll catch yourself mid-sentence, padding a simple sentence with reasons no one asked for. You feel the urge to keep going, to soften, to add the joke. Let yourself feel that urge without obeying it. The second shift is harder. You let a sentence end where it naturally ends. I can't make it tonight. Period. Not, I can't make it tonight because work is crazy and I haven't slept and I really wanted to come and I'm so sorry. The first time you do this, your hand will hover over the send button like it's a hot stove. Send it anyway. The friend will say, okay, next time, and the world will not end. But something inside you will. A very old contract will quietly expire. The third shift is recognizing what a real friend actually wants from you. A real friend does not need your essay. They need your honesty in a sentence. The people who require a full explanation for every small choice are not your friends. They are your parent in a different costume. Here is the healthy line, and it's not what most people say. A boundary is not no with a reason. A boundary is no that doesn't owe the room a reason. Reasons are a gift you offer, not a tax you pay. Healthy friends receive your no like weather. Toxic ones interrogate it like a courtroom. Notice which people in your life make you feel like you're on the stand. Then notice how much you explain to them. The nuance most people miss is this. You do not have to become cold to stop over-explaining. The goal is not to be the person who says no and walks away. That's the opposite wound. The goal is to be warm without being on trial, generous without being available for inspection. You can love your friends deeply and still let your sentences be short. There's a phrase you can practice, quietly, in your own mouth, before you ever use it out loud. That doesn't work for me. Say it now. Notice how your jaw wants to add a because. Notice the small panic that says they'll think you're rude. That panic is not your friend. That panic was installed. Try another one. I've thought about it, and my answer is the same. This one is for the friend who keeps gently asking. The way the charming parent used to keep gently asking, until you cave with a smile. And one more for the moment a friend asks why, and you feel the old paragraph rising. I just don't want to. That's enough. It will feel like jumping off something. Jump. Here is where the identity starts to turn. You are not a person who over-explains because you are weak. You are a person who learned a complicated language as a child, and you are now slowly choosing to speak less of it. That is not a flaw to fix. That is a fluency to retire. There is a difference. The retiring is slow. Some days you'll send the paragraph anyway and feel the old shame. On those days, do not add a second paragraph apologizing for the first. Let it be. Let yourself be in progress. The charming parent taught you that love was a performance with no script you were allowed to see. You spent decades auditioning. You got very good at it. That skill kept you connected and it cost you yourself. You don't have to audition anymore. The friends worth keeping were never asking for the show. They were asking for you, the short sentence you, the unexplained you, the you who can cancel coffee in 5 words. Notice, in the coming week, the people who relax when your messages get shorter. Those are your people. Notice the ones who push for more, who say but why, who make you feel like you owe them the essay. Those are not your enemies. They are simply not safe for the version of you that is trying to grow. You can love them from a distance that doesn't require a paragraph. The deepest truth is this: over-explaining is grief in disguise. It is the small, ongoing mourning of a child who was never allowed to be a clear, simple, unjustified human in front of the parent they loved most. You are allowed to mourn that, and you are allowed finally to stop paying that grief with your sentences. If any of this landed, if you felt seen even once, tap the like button, so this finds the next person who needs it. Subscribe to Mind Over Them and turn on the bell because the next videos go deeper into the quiet wounds no one names. Tell me in the comments which line you're going to stop saying first. The one you've used 1,000 times. Name it and start the retirement. The next video is about the strange grief of becoming the calm one in a family that needed you anxious. You'll want to be there for that. You were not too much as a child. You were a child who learned to be exactly enough in a house where enough kept moving. You don't have to chase it anymore. You can put the paragraph down, and the people who love you will still be there when your sentence ends.